Men of Mike's house, we stand here today in the very porch of battle. Our enemy stands fierce beyond the front door, beyond the garden fence. It invades through our very letterboxes. It ambushes us on our very shopping trips. It has infiltrated even the ranks of our loved ones.
Hello there, how are you?
Stay away from me, Papa! But I say thee this, as we stand on the ramparts of our windowsill, we will stand, and we will fight with clean hands if necessary. There will come a time when the germs will read their history books with horror. They will balk before teaching their children about this day. So we draw this line at our sofas, and we say to thee, nay! You have taken my march. You have taken my freedom. But you will not. Not while there is breath in these lungs, while there is blood coursing through this very heart of mine. You will not take my toilet roll. Stand at 5 men! Prepare yourselves and eat hearty, for tonight we dine indoors for England, for Boris. Yeah! Hello and welcome to Illuminate Online. I hope you're all doing really well. We've all been told to stay indoors for another week as much as we possibly can, and the reason for that is to protect ourselves but also to protect others. And you might have guessed that I've taken the government's instructions very, very seriously. I've hunkered down, I've locked myself in, and hopefully I keep the virus out. And we've all had to hunker down, haven't we? Staying indoors, venturing outside only when necessary, washing our hands. Some of us are even wearing gloves and masks. Our homes have become like a fortress. Fortresses are special buildings, a bit like a castle, and they're designed to protect the people inside and to keep them safe. We've got another drawing competition for you this week if you'd like to take part. The prize is to keep this drawing that I'm doing here, and the competition is to design and draw your very own fortress that will keep you safe. If you wanted to, you could even build one out of boxes. You can think about how strong the walls might be, how small the windows might be. You can think about weapons that will help you to keep enemies away, or defences to help you keep enemies out. When you've done your drawings, you can get your parents to send them to me, and I will figure out how to get this drawing as a prize to the winner. But today we're looking at another psalm. We're looking at Psalm 62. And it's another psalm by David, and in it he's looking for something like a fortress. He's looking for something that will protect him and keep him safe. In verse 3 of the psalm, David says this: "How long will you assault me? Will all of you throw me down, this leaning wall, this tottering fence? How long will you assault me?" That's a question that a lot of us are asking right now about the virus, isn't it? How long are you going to keep causing problems and making some people unwell and making others have to stay indoors? Maybe we've asked that question of other things in the past. So maybe you know someone who's been poorly with the same sickness for a long time. Or maybe you've been ill for a long time and you ask the sickness, how long are you going to keep making my life worse? Or maybe it's a person that you know. When I was at primary school, I was bullied, and at times like that, you think, is this ever going to end? And you want to ask the bullies, don't you, how long are you going to be making my life a misery? How long are you going to keep laughing at me or calling me names or beating me up? That's similar to the situation David was in. Let me read on. Surely they intend to topple me from my lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouths they bless, but in their hearts they curse. For David, it wasn't a virus that was causing his problems, but it was other people. But it still seemed like a problem that could take ages to go away. Weeks or months, maybe even years. And what David wants more than anything is something that can keep him safe. Something to protect him. Something to see him through. Something to make sure that whatever is going on in the world right now will not be the end of him. David finds his fortress in the next part of the psalm, but first we're going to head over to Katie, and Katie's going to be showing us how to make our craft for this week. Katie's going to be teaching us how to make animal masks, but if you want to make something more to do with fortresses, then you can. You could adapt this to make soldier masks, or warrior masks, or orc masks, or goblin masks, whatever you like. So, Katie, take it away!
So, we are going to do another craft. Really enjoyed seeing the crafts that you've made over the last couple of weeks. This week we are going to make some masks. So today you will need a paper plate. However, if you don't have a paper plate at home, you can ask your grown-ups to find another piece of card, maybe the back of a cereal box. That would work just as well, but we need a kind of rough circle shape. So we are going to make some animal masks. I'm going to show you the kind of animal masks you might choose to make. You can make a zebra mask, or you could perhaps make an elephant mask. You have to really use your imagination for this one to look like an elephant mask. But today I thought we could make a lion mask. And I've got lots of things in my craft cupboard at home that would work really well for a lion. So we're thinking about a male lion, and we know they've got really nice big manes. So I'm going to show you the things that we're going to need. So we're going to need paper plate or a bit of card, like I said. You're going to need just some odds and ends, bits of card, tissue paper, with whatever kind of colours you need for your animal. So for my lion, I've cut all those little bits up into strips. Got some fabric, bit of ribbon, some tissue there. Then we need 2 bits of card for ears. And I've decided I'm going to go for a little nose in a triangle shape. So you can get your grown-up perhaps to help you cut those out, or to draw around something that you can cut out. We're going to need a lolly stick if you've got something like a lolly stick, or perhaps you could have some elastic with some holes for your mask. We'll go through how you might fix it at the end. You're going to need a pair of scissors for your grown-up, and you'll need some glue. Okay, right, let's get making. Okay, so first of all, you need to get your grown-up to cut a nice big hill shape in your paper plate so that it ends up looking a bit like that, so you can put your mouth through, so we can do some roaring. And then you need to work out with your paper plate where your eyes are going to go, and then ask your grown-up to cut out some holes for your eyes. Now we're going to get on to the really fun part where we get to stick. So you need to get hold of your glue and then stick loads of glue in the middle where your nose would be. And if you find that little bit of card that we cut out in the shape of a triangle, and you can stick that on about there on your plate. You need to get your ears and put those one on each side, like your average set of ears. And then we need to think about being really creative with our manes. So I'm going to get all my bits of tissue paper that I've cut up. I'm going to put loads of glue and go crazy with your glue. And then you can start sticking on bits of tissue. You make it really fluffy. It doesn't have to be neat. If you've ever seen a lion in real life at the zoo, they do not look neat. We watched The Lion King last night in our family, and it was the real action version, live action, and Scar the lion is pretty mangy looking, so maybe this can be a bit like Scar the lion. So use lots of different colours. So if you're making a zebra and you're doing something stripy, or perhaps you're making a bird, so you can perhaps use some feathers or different coloured tissue paper. You can be as creative as you like. You don't have to do it exactly like I've done it. And why make one? You can make several different masks like I've made. So you can make a whole zoo, or maybe a farmyard of animals. So keep going. I need to try and get that mane to go all the way around the side, of the lion's ears. And then at this point, you might be thinking about how you get your mask to stay on. So if you had a hole punch at home, if I show you on this one, you could punch some little holes on the side and then either use some string or some elastic if your grown-ups have got something like that at home. Whoopsie daisy. And then you could fix it behind your ears, but I'm going to use a lolly stick because that's what I've got in my cupboard. And then it's really easy to change masks when you're playing or demonstrating them. Oops, my glue is really sticky. Now, it might be that you don't have loads of bits of card or bits of fabric at home, so you could just use a pen. You can cut out the shape of a mask and get all your crayons out and enjoy sticking things on with those instead. Okay, so I think, we are nearly at the point. I forgot to mention earlier, it might be also useful to have a bit of sellotape so you can secure your lolly stick on. I'm going to just stick a little bit of ribbon on as well because that's really nice. And then we'll be ready to show our masks. So, next thing is we're going to turn our mask over, and you'll need a little tiny bit of sellotape, which I have just and your lolly stick, and then kind of stick it on the back, and then hopefully there is my lion mask, at which point you can enjoy.
Before we go back to David and his psalm, let's take a look at some of your crafts from last week. First we have Bethany's dinosaurs from 2 weeks ago, and I think Bethany might have made the best and biggest Jurassic Park so far. She's got 3 dinosaurs, 3 different ones. She's got sunshine, a rainbow and some grass as well. Do let us know if you've been making more dinosaurs. Bethany also made this caterpillar, a really happy looking caterpillar sitting on his leaf. Thank you for sending it to us, Bethany. And finally for this week, Imi has sent her caterpillar to us as well. Looking really happy, lovely bright colours, fun antenna as well, and fun little ear. Well done, Imi, and thank you for sending it to us. Back to David. David is in a dangerous situation. As king, he's forever having to deal with people trying to take his place and hurt him, either through violence or with vicious rumours. So David wants to be kept safe and to find something that will protect him like a fortress, to make sure that whatever's going on won't be the end of him. Well, let's look at what he says in the next part. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from him. Truly, he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honour depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. David says whenever he's in a tricky situation, his hope comes from God. He says that God is his fortress and God will keep him safe. In fact, he says he won't even be shaken. When difficult things happen, they can shake us, can't they? They can make us feel shaken. And it's not very nice being shaken, trust me. I should know.
Good evening, sir. May I be finding you a drink?
Yes, I'll have a martini, shaken, not stirred. I don't want to be in a martini! I'm not an olive! I'm a man! A real life man! David says that thanks to God, when something difficult happens, he's not shaken. In a little while, we're going to see how putting our hope in God helps us not to be shaken, and how actually he can be a fortress to keep us safe, even in the most dangerous situations. But first, I'm going to hand you over to two accomplices of mine who have got a game for us to play.
Today we're going to be making a maze out of Lego. So I'm going to tell you what you need. So you need a board, a Lego board. Then you need some Lego bricks. You need a pom-pom and also a straw, and some traps, like any Lego traps you have, or stuff to go under, the pom-pom to go under. Okay, so I'm going to start it now. Okay, so we've added in, as you can see, some small little traps, and now I'm going to carry on.
So Will, do you want to tell us about what you've added on?
I've added the traps.
So to make it tricky for the ball to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take.
It's looking great, boys.
We are going to put it round because it's all finished, as you can see. So this is the whole course. We've put all the traps in and we finished it all. This is the finish line here. This is the marker. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate and then William will carry on to finish it.
tricky and difficult situation you've ever been in? I've not had many really serious ones. There's one that comes to mind from when I was in a swimming pool and I was a lot younger, and two older boys decided to pick on me and dunked me underwater. And it felt like all my breath had run out and I was going to drown. And it was a difficult situation because I couldn't get back up to the surface. Or there was another one that I didn't really notice at the time. When I was younger, again, I had to go to hospital to have an operation. And the doctors had to make me unconscious in order to be able to do it. I don't remember actually being unconscious, but I know that I needed the doctor's help. If the doctors hadn't woken me back up, I'd have been stuck there for good. It was a difficult situation because I needed someone else to wake me back up. In both those situations, something was happening to me that was out of my control and I needed help. Thanks to self-defense lessons, I knew exactly where to kick the boy that was dunking me and get up for some air. I won't tell you where that was. And thanks to the doctors, they were able to revive me after they finished the operation, so I was awake again. But even those situations, they were a little bit dangerous, but they weren't the worst. King David had some rough situations in his life too, like fighting Goliath or being chased around in the wilderness by people who wanted him dead. But even they weren't the worst situation, or the situation that we find ourselves in right now. Some of us are unwell, some of us are stuck indoors, lots of us are scared, but even that isn't the worst situation. And if you look at the worst situation and how God can rescue people even from that, well, it makes you realise exactly why we can put our hope in God. You see, this is what the worst situation is. Not bullying, not sickness, not staying indoors. The worst situation to be in is this. It's when we die and our sin holds us there. Now that will shake you. And the Bible says that sin is the reason we die. And the Bible also tells us that sin keeps us in death forever. And it even uses stronger words than that. But God gives us hope because he can rescue us even from sin and death. If you made a medieval soldier mask earlier, then you've almost got the full costume, the full set of armour. Something that you need is what's called chainmail. In those days, people used to wear chainmail armour, which was made up of lots of little loops of metal all twisted together to make like a t-shirt of metal, and it was impenetrable. A sword or a spear would not be able to get through chainmail armour. Actually, some deep sea divers even use it because a shark can't even bite through it. And death is like a big medieval soldier wearing chainmail armour. And we can try all different kinds of tactics against it. We can try different weapons to break through. But try as we might, we can't defeat him. Our weapons just bounce off, whether it's medicine or keeping fit or society coming together or technology. Nothing we do can pierce death's chainmail armour. We desperately need a weak spot in that chainmail. We need to find a chink in death's armour. Well, how's this for a weak spot? Jesus died, and he was in the worst situation any person can be in. He was dead. And self-defense instructors couldn't tell him where to kick in order to come back up to the surface. He couldn't kick because he was dead. Doctors couldn't wake him up because he wasn't unconscious. He was dead. Jesus was well and truly dead. Death, in all of its chainmail, had Jesus, just like it's got everybody else. But then, and here's the weak spot, God raised Jesus to life. Do you see the weak spot in the chainmail? Technology can't get through it, medicine can't get through it, but God did. So that's why David can put his hope in God, and it's why we can put our hope in God too. We can make anything into a fortress. And yes, our homes might help us against coronavirus, but they won't beat death in all of its chainmail when it comes knocking. But God can raise us from the dead just like he did with Jesus. And he promises to do that one day when the time comes for all those who put their trust and hope in him. Because of Jesus, we can say the same things that David said about God. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. Let's pray together. 1, 2, 3. Dear God, It is incredible that you have power even over death. When we feel sick, we can hope that a doctor will make us well, but when we die, we can have hope that you are able to raise us from life because you did that for Jesus. Thank you that when we look at Jesus and his death and resurrection, we see the weak spot in death's armour. I pray you will help us to trust in you, and I pray you will help us to make you our fortress, so that when we do that, we will not be shaken. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. 4. That's all we've got time for this week. Get your parents to send us pictures of your drawings and your crafts and your Lego mazes so that we can see them. Keep in touch with us at Christchurch and keep checking Facebook and YouTube for more videos and announcements. I can tell you that we've got something eagerly awaited coming to the channel very soon. Keep washing your hands, keep looking after yourselves, and we'll see you here next time. Bye!